Hi, I'm in a Phoenix Inn in Albany, Oregon, on my way to Thailand still. It's 3 in the morning. I have not been able to sleep, which insomnia is a problem I've dealt with since adolescence. But tonight, I think I know what triggered it. There's a sign in the elevator here that says, please do not exceed more than 5 people in the elevator. And I have to see that sign every single time I ride the elevator. Well, of course, more than 5 people is anything from 6 to infinity. So the sign says, please do not exceed infinity people in the elevator. It should just say, please do not exceed 5 people. And that is the kind of thing that literally keeps me awake at night. I want to go out there with a Sharpie and correct that sign. But that would get me thrown out of here. So instead, I'm going to tell you a couple stories. I was taken to task this week by a subscriber to this channel because in a previous video I mentioned that I had witnessed a motorcycle accident on Sukhumvit Road at 3 a.m. on another sleepless night in December of last year. And this reader questioned my moral fiber and called me a bad man because I didn't get involved in the aftermath of this motorcycle accident, even though I said I was standing on Sukhumvit in my pajamas and flip-flops. I had nothing on me except a cigarette and a lighter. There was already a police officer there on the scene. There was a taxi driver who'd been involved in the accident. There was a young woman who was injured. And there was her beau, her young man. And there was the security guard from the hotel. All these people were there, but this subscriber thought I don't know, leap in and take command of the situation or something. I don't know what he wanted me to do. And that's got me thinking about right and wrong. Because, usually ethics are situational or even geographical. What's right and wrong can be different in different countries. Changes in latitude, changes in attitude. So when we as Farang go and be expats in Thailand, we're often faced with moral quandaries, moral dilemmas, moral ambiguity. What do we do in this situation? So I want to tell you 2 stories. The first one took place in the 90s in Phuket. As I've said previously, I was writing a newspaper column. Every week I'd go to Soy Bangla. I would go to many places. I go to every business on the street looking for stories for my column. And one of the places I went was the photo labs because they kept boxes of naked pictures of bar girls that tourists would take. They would bring their film in to be developed. And the labs would keep copies of all the dirty pictures and sell them to brokers from the West. So one day I was in a photo lab and the guy I knew there, let's call him Pilek, I'm looking through the box of dirty photos and he says, man, you should see what came in today. It's disgusting. And of course I said, yeah, I want to see that. So he pulls, not from the box, but from a shelf where he keeps, the envelopes of photos that are waiting for the Farang to come pay for them and pick them up. He pulls out an envelope of 36, rolls of film worth 36 exposures, 36 photos. And he lets me look at it, and it's a fat Farang guy. And it's the usual touristy things. It's the fat Farang guy on a motorcycle, little step-through motorcycle. He's in a bar with a gibbon on his shoulder. He's at the beach. He's by the pool. Lamb prompte. Typical stuff. But 3 of the photos were different. So the first of these 3 showed a little Thai girl in a school uniform. She was about 8, 9 years old. She's sitting on a cement bench, the kind they have in the playgrounds at Thai schools. And the second photo, the fat Farang is seated next to her. He's taking the photo looking down, so you see his lap and her lap. And he's taken her hand and placed it on his naked thigh. He's wearing shorts. And the third photo was evidence of a crime. And I said to Pilek, what are you going to do with these? He said, well, I'm going to sell them to the guy when he comes, like any of this bunch of pictures. I said, no, you got to take these to the cops, man. You can see the school crest on her pocket. You know what school she goes to. I know this bar with the Gibbon. We know where the guy hangs out. I know this pool. We know his guest house. It's an easy win for the cops. And Pelek said, no, I'm not getting involved. He said, if you want, I'll make you copies. You take them to the cops. So he makes me copies, and I called a guy I knew at the TAT, the Thai Tourism Authority. And I knew this guy, I knew all the guys at TAT. They changed every year, but we'd meet at ribbon cuttings and stuff. And I said, I took him the photos, and I said, here, take these to the cops. He said, I'm not touching these. I said, well, tell me where to go, where to take these. I'll take these to the cops. And he said, well, you'll get yourself in trouble. Listen, I know a guy on the Katu force I can trust. Let me make an appointment. So the next day, I ride out into the banana fields to a little sing-a-song bar. And there's my TAT guy, and he's seated at a table with a guy who looks like he just came from Central Casting on a call for corrupt cop, tough-looking, mean-looking guy. And he says nothing to me. And I sit down, and I put the pictures on the table, and the cop sifts through them. And the cop says something to the TAT guy in a dialect I don't speak, and then he gets up, and he looks down at me, and he smiles. It's not a real smile, and he walks out. And I say, what'd he say? And the TAT guy says, what you got there is garbage. You need to put that in a dumpster. And the TAT guy gets up and walks out, leaves me with the bill. So I pay the bill, and I go outside, and I feel like everybody's staring at me because I got kiddie porn in my bag. And I found a dumpster, and I threw those pictures away. I go home, and my ex-wife says, where were you? And I told her, I got these pictures of a child being abused, and I tried to take them to the cops. She said, you had these pictures in a house overnight? I said, yeah. She said, how could you be so stupid? You put us all in danger. You, me, the kids. That was really stupid. And she was, angry for a long time after that. So, I want to tell you another story now about something that happened in 1988 on my first trip to Chiang Mai. My first night there, I asked the tuk-tuk driver to take me to where the action is. And he took me first to a Apot Nuat soapy massage place. And it was big and glitzy and expensive and touristy. And I came back outside and I said, yeah, it's not for me. I want to go to a Thai place. So he takes me to a sing-a-song bar. And, these are places where the girls wear frilly dresses and they sing. And while they're singing, if you like her, you buy her a flower garland. She comes, sits with you. You buy her some drinks, maybe buy her dinner. And if you like each other, you make a date for after she gets off work. And that just seemed like a whole lot of work and effort. I wasn't interested in that big a project that night. So I went back outside, and by this point, he's kind of frustrated with me. So he starts driving out into the rice fields. Pocket, 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 pocket. And we're driving and driving. Pocket, 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 pocket. Out and out and out into the countryside. And we come up on a mountain. And the mountain has a bluff, a sheer cliff face in the front of it. And there are caves at street level in this cliff face. And the caves have had wooden doors built into the entrances of these caves. And I think they're like residences and workshops, and there's evidence of motorcycles being repaired and stuff. It's kind of like a strip mall of caves. But one of the caves has a red light over the door. So I go in under the red light, and it's a cave. I mean, it's rock walls, it's stalactites, very low ceiling. No electricity. There's some oil lamps around. And there's 3 girls sitting on a wooden bench reading Mahasano comic books. And these are girls. Somewhere between 13 and 16 maybe, and to my eye, closer to the 13 end of that spectrum. And I said, thanks, no thanks. And I walked out. And I got in the tuk-tuk and had him take me back to the hotel, and I just read a book that night. So my point is, I have a point. My point is, sometimes faced with moral ambiguity, our only option is to walk away. Sometimes we don't have any other options. That's the best option. It's very Buddhist, isn't it? Do nothing. And we just have to live with that. I didn't save anybody that night in Chiang Mai in that cave, except I saved those girls from my company, and for whatever that's worth. But I didn't save anybody. I didn't fix a bad situation. But I didn't make a bad situation worse either. I didn't participate in the bad thing. And that's the best I could come up with in that moment. You know, I used to work in the movies. And these days, people say, oh, what'd you work on? Anything I've seen? And the only credit anybody recognizes, because I worked on low-budget independent features in the 80s in New York City, TV shows, public service announcements, commercials. But I did a movie called Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee. I was set decorator on that movie, and everybody recognizes that credit now. And Mr. Lee titled his movie Do the Right Thing because we all know we're supposed to do the right thing. But it's knowing what the right thing is. That's the trick. Well, yeah, that's it. Those are my stories. I'm going to lay down and try to go back to sleep. I'm going to go out on the street here in Albany and have a couple cigarettes and come back up here and try to sleep. I don't drink alcohol, and I try to avoid drugs because I have a history of compulsive addiction. And, you know, when I have insomnia, if I have to, I'll go without sleep, and tomorrow do what I have to do. But I hope you'll like and subscribe. I will be in Thailand in a couple weeks, and these videos will become more focused on Thailand, I promise, and current Thailand. And I hope you'll stay interested. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.